Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
And I'm Bill. And interesting week. The Auburn-Alabama game yesterday was probably one of the best college football games maybe I've ever seen, but at least in the last 4 or 5 years. It was just unbelievable.
It was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And I mean, back and forth and crazy things, and pick sixes and kickoff returns. I mean, it was so entertaining. And, but some really interesting things that the Zebras got involved in at the end of the half and at the end of the game. I mean, the 1 second for the field goal attempt.
Yes.
I don't know about that one. I'm probably as upset with Saban on that one as I am. But then the end of the game when they had too many guys on the field, he kind of was whining about that. That should be within his own control.
Yeah, I know he did that passive aggressive, like as coaches, it's on us to say it, but he's also like they maybe it's an unusual circumstance, and it's like it really wasn't. Like,
yeah, I mean, you could count them.
You can count them, yeah, and it's like they had their wide receiver in as their quarterback in as the punt hole. I mean, like you should have known that. Like they weren't, and even if they didn't, then they got you. That's college football. That's great. That's strategy.
Yeah, it was a great strategy. It was a great play. But I was real impressed with that.
And I assume that eliminates Alabama from the 4 this year, right?
That makes them a 2-loss team, yeah. And so if Baylor beats Oklahoma, I think Baylor might get in. If Oklahoma wins, they might get in. I'd like to see Utah get in.
Yeah.
That would be my choice of the 4. Of the 3, I mean, they're under consideration. In counting Georgia's ways, it's 4. I'd like to see Utah get in. I don't know if they will. I mean, it's just unfortunate. Just not enough people see those football games.
Yeah, but the people that voting should. I mean, they get paid.
They should. Do they?
No, I don't think they do, which is really sad because I feel like you could find people that would take it seriously and watch every game that they knew they had to watch. And obviously, you can skip certain games, but if it's this time of year, you should be watching every team in the top 12.
Yeah.
And full games, and not highlights, but actually watching the full game, I think is more than reasonable considering what you're getting paid to do.
Yeah. Well, I have a WTF moment for the week.
Okay.
Why are the Milwaukee Bucks Cream City?
Cream City?
Did you see the uniforms?
I did. Yeah, I don't get it either. Are they known for ice cream?
Wisconsin might be known for ice cream, but that would be a city. I wouldn't think Milwaukee's known for cream. If you wanted to give me Wisconsin as the dairy state,
yeah,
cream state of mind or something, but not Cream City.
No. Plus, we already have Lob City and the other cities involved. That it's just the city. It feels kind of copycatish.
So the NBA City Edition uniforms, I've been a big fan of, and I've talked about them all over time. So now, besides this Cream City, the Nets are doing their tribute to Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah.
And Budweiser actually moved the crown of their logo over the B in Budweiser to support it.
Oh, that's really cool.
But I mean, that's something. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah. No, that's definitely.
But I want to spend some time today on the SBJ annual reader survey. It comes out once a year, and I think it always has some really interesting things that if you get the publication like I do, you're aware of everything. But a lot of our listeners don't, and you don't.
No.
So I thought we'd just play a little bit here, and I'd ask you some questions, and I'll give you the answer.
Okay.
So, which sport event is on your ultimate bucket list of all the sporting events in the world? Which is the number one thing you want to see live in person?
If I'm guessing for the majority of people answering this survey, it's probably like the last day of the Masters.
Okay, the Masters is number 2.
Oh.
Number 1 is slightly surprising to me is the Super Bowl.
Huh. I mean, we're spoiled in U of I. I've been to 2 Super Bowls with you.
But listen to the list. The Super Bowl is 1, the Masters is 2, the Olympics is 3, the World Cup final is 4, the World Series is 5, Wimbledon is 6, Kentucky Derby 7, Daytona 500 8, NBA Finals 9, Champion League Finals and Final Four tied for 10.
Okay. I think personally now that I've got to witness one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time with my dad watching the Steelers win the Super Bowl. So that would have been number one.
Yep.
And I think moving forward, if I had to, it's because it wouldn't be Game 7 of the Stanley Cup unless it was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup with the Penguins.
Right.
So I don't know if that. I mean, that doesn't really count. I think of the stuff on that list, I guess if I was to choose, I might go with the World Cup Finals, just because I feel like that would be an exciting event to go to.
I think it would be too, and we're not even soccer fans.
No, I just think of those on that list, I think that might be the most unique sporting experience that I could have.
Okay, what do you think is the biggest sports business story of the year?
Of this year,
of all the things that happened,
I would assume this year. Well, I want to say moving forward with the legalized gambling, or more legalized gambling, but I don't know if that was this year.
I think that was probably last year, because it's not even mentioned here.
Oh, okay.
No, I take it back. The major U.S. leagues strike their first partnerships with casinos.
Yeah.
That was third.
Okay, so I'm got top 3 guess. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Number 1 was the California laws surrounding name, image, and likeness for college athletes.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2 was the NBA's international dispute with China.
Oh, gee, I can't believe I was just so for. Yeah, that should have been number. I should figure that out.
Yeah. I thought this one interesting. Who was the year's most intriguing athlete?
Most intriguing.
I'm kind of surprised by the answer, and it's not even close.
Kawhi Leonard.
I will tell you, Antonio Brown was 10th at 2%, tied with Mike Trout.
I threw out Kawhi Leonard because he's an intriguing fella.
And Kawhi Leonard was 4th.
Okay. Still sticking top 5.
Was 3rd.
Really?
Megan Rapinoe was 2nd. And Zion Williamson was 1st.
Oh.
Which is really interesting to me because he hasn't even made his debut yet.
No. He had a nice preseason for the couple of games he played before he got hurt again, like he did in college. But yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that one.
I wouldn't have either. Here's another interesting one. This one is very, very logical to me. Should sport entities or executives take a public stance on social or political issues in the United States?
I would assume the majority of people would probably say no, they shouldn't.
51 to 49.
Yeah.
But barely. I mean, that shows how split it is.
Well, I think politics is pretty much, at this point, I mean, given this, without getting without going political, I mean, but it's permeated almost everything in society now. Like, everything is interpreted through that lens, so it's almost impossible for them not to.
Then, not surprising, buying a franchise in which league would be viewed as the most wisest investment years from now, what are the hottest sports properties, and who's the most effective commissioner was all NBA. Adam Silver, NBA.
Yeah.
But which sport properties do you think are headed in the wrong direction? And so there's 10 listed here. So take your pick. Which one do you think is the most, I guess I would say the most screwed up? My answer would have been the NCAA, which finished 4th.
Yeah, I would have said NCAA. I mean, I guess my second, I don't think it's true, but I think baseball probably ranks pretty high. MLB ranks high on that list.
Baseball's 3rd.
Okay.
The NFL's 2nd. NASCAR's 1st.
Now, you and I are not NASCAR people, so I really can't comment, but I think the NFL, I think there's a lot of public things that look bad, but, granted, I live in the city with the Saints, and I'm a Steeler fan around a lot of other football fans, but I think even the people that say they're going to watch less, I don't think they actually watch less.
No,
or gamble any less, or play any less fantasy football. I mean...
Here you go, the XFL. Here's your 3. I'm going to give you all 3 of the choices.
Okay.
The XFL will be in business for 1 year or less, 2 to 5 years, more than 5 years.
I think 2 to 5.
66% said 2 to 5. 1 year or less said 26. More than 5 said 8.
Now, I know we just had the AAF,
yeah.
The AAF, and I think that was I think that Vince McMahon and the people behind the XFL, again, I don't think they're going to let themselves, even out of pride, go for 1 year or less.
You're probably right.
I think that this has been something they've been working on for 5 years. Vince McMahon, I think, if anything, is the guy behind the guy, or one of the, I think if you watch him, or as a wrestling fan, he's a very stubborn, hard-headed individual. I think he would lose money for 2 to 3 years before he would give up.
You're probably right.
Unless there's some sort of, bizarro deal where they've invented some piece of technology like the AAF, and somebody offers them some sort of grandfather deal to walk away. Would be my guess.
I think that I would have said 2 to 5. I think that's reasonable. Now, in my 2 to 5, I would say they won't be in the same markets in year 2 as during year 1.
No.
That's what I'd say. All right, what percentage of people do you think have a traditional paid TV subscription? So either cable or direct TV. Of all households of people who answered the poll.
I would say.
Keep in mind that most of the people who answered the poll would have been at least 35.
Yeah, I was going to say, on this, the people that answered polls, I would probably say like 86%.
69.
Oh, that's lower than I would have thought.
Does your household have a non-traditional paid TV subscription?
99%.
94.
94.
Huh. What do you think is the most effective social media platform for engaging sports fans?
I think it's got to be Twitter.
Twitter was 50%. Instagram was 37%. Facebook was 8%.
I'm actually even surprised Facebook is that high. As far as that, as far as, engaging in that level,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the traditional TV thing, I think that's a weird wording. Because, I think, now that I think it's almost now that's become the, with Disney Plus and Apple and Amazon and all the big names in entertainment, actually, Warner Brothers, HBO, like, that's now the new tradition,
Yep.
And all these package deals. So it's like, it's not like, 10 years ago when it was like Netflix and like YouTube. Like, there's I think it's, it's weird that you don't have a non.
Here's a Jason question. You'll love this question.
I'm excited.
And you won't get it right. But which team has the best uniform in sports?
Oh.
And they list 10.
Well, I would say, as you know from growing up with me, every time ESPN puts out that list of the 25 ugliest uniforms, 18 are my favorite uniforms. So I clearly have terrible, terrible taste. But on this one, I'll go traditional. I'll go Boston Celtics.
Not on the list.
Not on the list. All right, give me 3 guesses, just so we can.
Okay, yeah.
Dallas Cowboys.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's one of the teams tied for 7th.
Okay.
No, actually, it's one of the teams tied for 6th. There are 5 teams with slightly more, and then there are 6 teams that are listed by 2% of everybody.
People do.
One of those.
And I guess my last guess, and I don't necessarily agree with this one, would be the New York Yankees with the classic pinstripe navy.
Number 1.
Okay. I was about to say, I should be able to guess that. I was like, that's...
The Yankees were 1, the Dodgers were 2. And those are 2 of the most storied franchises in America.
Yes.
The Oregon Ducks were 3.
Ooh, I do like Oregon uniforms.
Chicago Blackhawks were tied for 3rd. Seattle Seahawks were tied for 3rd.
I'm a little bit surprised on the Blackhawks because...
It's very traditional.
It's very traditional, but they're at least adjacent to the Redskins. They don't have the racist name, but they do have,
Yeah.
Like, I know it's... I know Blackhawk fans and obviously hockey, and it's a cool-looking, sweater, but I think it's a little problematic. If we're going to be, non-offensive.
So rounding out the top 10, and these teams all had the same percentage. Michigan Wolverines, Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, nice.
New York Mets, Kansas City Chiefs, St. Louis Cardinals, Los Angeles Chargers.
Or the Chargers, are we just talking powder blue or all of them?
Probably the people would have said powder blue. They didn't say, but I guess all of them. But the powder blue probably influenced it.
I think the Raiders have some really classic, cool-looking uniforms with the black and silver. And for a TV viewing experience, shout out to our family, I love the way the Vikings look on TV.
Yeah, I like the Vikings.
I mean, I wouldn't want to.
I thought the Packers would be in this list.
Yeah. So no NBA teams made it, huh?
No NBA teams.
Huh. I thought people loved the classic Boston Celtic, the green with the Celtic and.
I thought so too, but I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah, or I thought,
Well, while we're on uniforms, you saw that Miami, the Vice looks this year for Miami Heat is blue.
Yeah.
You see what they did? They on a flight from Miami to Madrid. You know how like sometimes put T-shirts on all the seats in the stadium?
Yeah.
They put a new Miami Vice shirt on all the seats on the plane.
I think that's why you want to own an NBA franchise. They keep doing cool stuff.
That was really cool. I mean, I love the Vice thing. It's one of my favorite things. All right. Would you be comfortable with your child playing tackle football? Yes or no?
I would say the answer on the survey would be no.
Okay, how high of a percent do you think it is?
53%.
68.
Okay, even higher than I thought.
Yeah.
I think when you start really researching everything, like headers in soccer apparently cause things you wouldn't even obviously using your head as an implement for throwing a ball really hard. But those are actually pretty common. Like there's a lot of ways to get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think you'd have to know your child, but I think some kids are just not immune, obviously, because everyone can get a concussion. I just think it depends on the child,
Well, see, think about this one. If you have a child who plays youth sports, how many does he or she play? 1, 2, 3, 4, or more?
I think nowadays with the specialization of parents, I'm going to say the answer is 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1.
Number 2 is number 1 with 41%. Second is 3 with 26%.
Okay.
Barely beating out 1 with 24%. And then 4 more, 9%.
So let's go back to this question. I know if we went on a time machine. Now, I didn't play much football. Dan did. How did you feel about kids playing? Would you, if you could go back, would you want us to have played football, knowing what you know now, as an actual parent?
I don't think so. I think I would have tried to push lacrosse, basketball, or baseball.
Okay.
Because lacrosse gives you a lot of, lacrosse. I'm really big on lacrosse because it's like a little bit of basketball, a little bit of hockey, a little bit of football. It's kind of a really interesting sport. But I don't see a lot of people getting hurt. You wear a helmet. You get pretty good condition to play it. It's got some good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we stayed in Columbus, you might have gotten a shot to play lacrosse. Lacrosse might have been coming up.
And a special shout out if you want to check out lacrosse. I don't know when it is, so this would be some internet research for you. But they do that tournament every year. They show on ESPN2, and it's like Canada, the the Indian tribes.
Yep.
It's like America, and I forget the fourth country, but they have like a little tournament that's fantastic to watch.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which of the following new or renovated facilities are you most excited to see in person? I'm going to give you the list and let you tell me what your number 1 thought would be.
Okay, that's perfect. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get this otherwise.
Okay, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse where the Cavaliers play. Tottenham Hotspur where they play the NFL games now in London. The Chase Center where the Warriors play. Globe Life Field where the Rangers are going to play, which hasn't opened yet. SoFi Stadium where the NFL, where the Rams and Chargers can play, which hasn't opened yet. And Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas where the Raiders are going to play hasn't opened yet. Which of those that I just mentioned are you most intrigued to see? And my answer was wrong.
I would say based on trying to figure out what the survey is, maybe the Rangers baseball stadium.
No, number 1 is Las Vegas.
Really?
And I think it's that because of the way the hockey team did to their building. And I think people are looking for the hockey equivalent of that.
Okay.
I would have picked the Rams Stadium, which is going to be a $5 billion thing. I've seen models of it. That would be my number 1. And where the Warriors play would be my number 2.
Yeah, I thought the Warriors, but it seemed like this survey, we didn't have a lot of NBA fans, or less NBA fans for sure. So I was trying.
The people said that's the best business, that's the best commissioner.
Yeah. But I think that's, I I mean, I don't even think you can really argue that. Even
It's
with
interesting
this,
that the top three haven't opened yet.
it's true. I mean, on a selfish level, I probably would have picked Tottenham Stadium in London just because I'd like to go and check it out. I think it'd be fun.
Okay. Which entity, which sports organization is the best at producing live event spectacles?
Oh, I think you'd have to go NBA.
NBA's fourth.
Fourth.
One of your favorite things is number one.
Hockey?
No?
WWE.
WWE's number one.
They do an amazing job. Like, they really do.
They did. They can create some serious spectacle.
I guess I don't mean to insult wrestling, but I guess I didn't consider it as an, I know it's all sports entertainment, but
Yeah, that was number one.
I just don't view it as that.
NFL was number two. And I think a lot of that is the concerts that go with Monday Night Football and Super Bowl and everything else.
I guess my qualm with the NFL, and getting to go with games with you, I've had good seats. Like, I still don't feel like there's a great seat in an NFL stadium. Like, I can watch an NBA game and never look at the big screen unless I want to watch a replay. But I feel like when I'm in an NFL stadium, the product on the field, which I know maybe is not exactly all this talk, but I feel like I'm watching half the game on a screen in the middle of the stadium.
Well, I've seen 3 games in Jerry's World,
Yes.
and I probably watched the field less than 10% of the time.
And I think that's a negative, personally.
Yeah, because the screen is so big and it's so clear that I just watch it there.
Yeah.
Even though I tell myself I'm not going to.
I know.
All right, now this was like a big entertainment food week.
It was.
So I saw 5 movies this week, which I can't, in my entire lifetime, I've probably never seen 5 movies in a month.
And you should specify, you saw them in the theaters. Or you watched...
I saw 4.
Oh, yeah.
4 in theaters, and I watched The Irishman on Netflix. I went on the first day it was on Netflix. Now, I chose Netflix for The Irishman because it was 3.5 hours long.
Yes, indeed.
And that made the most sense to me. And I think I only fell asleep for about 15 minutes of it. But on Thanksgiving night, that's a dicey one.
It
But
is.
I thought it was very good. I love Scorsese. I love the actors. They all did a great job. I also saw Dr. Sleep, which was the sequel to The Shining. And I thought that was really, really well done. And I can't say that about a lot of Stephen King-based movies.
No.
But I thought it was really well done. I saw Welcome to My Neighborhood, Tom Hanks, Mr. Rogers flick, where Matthew Reeves, the guy from The Americans, does an unbelievable job. He's really good. I saw Knives Out, which was probably my least favorite. It was still good. It was probably my least favorite of the 5 I saw.
Wow.
And then I saw The Good Liar, which was originally on my list, and then Mom talked me into Knives Out. And then Bernie told me he had gone to see The Good Liar and how phenomenal it was. So we went and saw that, and it was really, really, really well done. What a great story, great acting, and a really good twist.
Okay. Now,
So 5 movies in 1 week, which is amazing for me.
Now let's do a little Irishman talk, and this isn't really spoilery, but I felt like obviously it could have been shorter. I know Scorsese would never say that, but
I think it could have been an hour shorter.
like I thought the last hour was the best hour of the movie because I thought that had the most to say without giving any spoilers. But I will say the first 2 hours, while certainly beautifully shot, well acted, it did feel like I was watching like Gangster Movie 101 with I'm not saying, but there's people that are saying. So, not me, but people are saying. When you get there, get them a ticket to Australia, down under. You know what I'm saying? Hey, why don't you go to this person's house and preheat their oven to broil? Like, it just felt like I was watching almost like a parody of a mafia movie with some of the, And I know that's probably, that's what it...
Had you heard the house painter term before, though?
I had not heard house painter, no.
I had not either.
Which I did enjoy. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But it's a lot of different ways to ask to kill somebody, and a lot of I'm not saying, but people are saying. So
Well, here's one of my takeaways. Robert De Niro could have been a hitman because the speed at which he executes the hits was probably like a real hitman would do.
It was.
So I was blown away by that.
And I would say I thought the CGI, I mean, the makeup and the CGI combination aging was fantastic.
Very, very well done.
And I'm sure the real Irishman probably did have blue eyes, but I found the blue eyes distracting. I thought there were times it looked like I was watching like Pitch Black with Vin Diesel with his fake eyes from time to time, where he looked more.
I didn't pick up on that.
Oh, okay, well that's good then. Maybe I was just being too critical of it.
Well, it's your business.
Yeah, because I mean,
you know more about it than anybody else, so you would have to be more critical because you would see things other people don't see because you would know what had to be done to make it be that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's just a little bit distracting. And I also saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Tarantino movie, which I thought was very good. Which you've been raving about for months. And again, it's got it. And we're obviously not going to do any spoilers because it just came out on demand, and I want to give people a chance. Well, maybe we can talk about it later, or maybe in a few weeks we'll do like a post main part of our episode spoiler. But it's got a few twists and turns you just don't expect. And obviously, DiCaprio and Brad Pitt are very charming and lovely in the movie, and I think everybody in it does a really good job.
Like I said, if you're alive in 1969, you probably have a bigger appreciation for the movie than somebody else because you'd been more aware of what 1969 was like. And Tarantino did a great job depicting life in 1969, down to the cars and the lifestyles and everything else.
And once again, even if you're not, I know it's not popular music today, but he does such a good, he's always been great with the soundtracks.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe there were 3 Paul Revere songs on the soundtrack. Although they were big in 1960, they were big in 66 to 70. But it was odd to me to hear 3 of them in one soundtrack.
Yes.
But I loved and I have the soundtrack. I love the way they used the radio. When Brad Pitt's driving around in the car, he's listening to the radio, and you're hearing those commercials, and he left all that in the soundtrack. I thought, which was kind of cool.
Definitely. And a special shout out to the Mamas and Papas cover by Julio Iglesias. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really well done.
Like I never thought of him like that, but that's it's almost like when Johnny Cash covers 9 Inch Nails. Like it takes a different sort of tone to it. That's really cool. Just
like we did when what was it? Was it Jose Feliciano, right?
Oh, Jose Feliciano. My bad. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Just like what he did, Like My Fire.
Yeah, it's really good. It's cool.
Yeah, really good. Very different take, but good.
And if you want a nice, fun 80-something minute movie, Ready or Not, just leave it out there for you. Go watch it. It's really fun. It's like a dark comedy, a little bit gruesome, a little horror-y, but really fun. And I don't really know what I can say about it without giving away parts of it, but
Okay. Did you have a food moment?
Well, I went to 2 places I've been to before, but I've got to shout them out again. Bearcat, just unbelievable pancakes. Like, I don't know what they do to them. In my mind, I'm trying to figure out the recipe. I was wondering if they somehow fluff up egg whites as part of their batter. I don't even know. But their pancakes are just so amazing.
Okay.
And then I went to Bakery Bar, and we got some DeBorgi bites, the little tiny DeBorge cake. And we got s'mores and key lime this time. And they were both just amazing.
All right, so we're going to go to Bearcat when I come down in February.
Yes.
All right, got to go. Okay. We went back to Mama D's, which is my favorite Newport Beach restaurant. Great Italian food. I've talked about it before. But we also went to Bandera, which is the Hillstone Restaurant Group, which is the founder of Houston's.
Okay.
And it was really good. Their specialties are rotisserie chicken. And it was really, really a cool place. Wood-burning rotisserie chicken.
Nice.
But it's a chain. It was good. And then one of my students gave me a recommendation for a place called Nick's Pizza and Italian Ristorante. And we went there, and I got to tell you, a small pizza would be a medium anywhere else. And the pizza was really good. A lot of toppings on the pizza. Not much sauce, which I was critical of. But the pizza, the dough, the cheese, the toppings were really, really good. So if I went back, I just order extra sauce.
Oh, and I do have another food moment I forgot. I went to, it was much smaller than it would be in the pictures, but I went to Norjo's Italian Market.
Okay.
They make their own mozzarella in store, which was delicious.
Yeah.
I was able to get, because Capicola was almost impossible to find down here, and they had both mild and hot that they slice fresh for you, as opposed to like, you can usually, if you find it in the grocery store in here, it's just the dried one, almost like a salami. As
Yeah, I
opposed
don't like that one.
and I don't really like that one, so they actually have it here. And if you go on Sundays to Norjo's, they do the pasta in the giant cheese wheel.
Ooh.
And they offer, you can go to their section and they do like, paninis and meatball subs, and they have just about all the Italian meats you could want. A lot of the ingredients Nonna would use in sauce, a lot of wine. It's a tiny little store, but if you're looking for like a place to get like deli meats and sandwiches and, like I said, really good cheese, and then let alone, I didn't get to try the wheel cheese because that's Sundays and I was there last night. But yeah.
That sounds amazing, though.
And again, the service there was phenomenal. Like, you walked in, it was like, hey, welcome to Norjo's. And they were trying to give you wine samples and cheese samples and, just very friendly, Italian-y sort of service, I guess.
Well, and I got one more they posted on Twitter. I posted, I love donuts.
Yes, I do.
And so your brother bought me some donuts from DK's Donuts in Santa Monica. And I've always been a big fan of, I love cream-filled donuts, but particularly chocolate cream-filled donuts.
Yes.
And DK's Donuts in Santa Monica is the best chocolate cream-filled donut I've ever had, bar none.
And again, you've been spending many decades of your life eating donuts and looking for donuts, so that's high praise.
And looking for chocolate cream-filled donuts.
Yes.
Like Atkins Farms had a chocolate cream-filled donut that was pretty good. Dunkin' Donuts had one that was always hit or miss. But this one is loaded with chocolate cream. It's a great, really light donut. So one of my DK Donuts in Santa Monica. That's a lot of food moments. But it was Thanksgiving week.
It was.
And of course, Mom cooked a great turkey, so life was good.
Well, speaking of donuts in New Orleans, we didn't get to try it because there was already shootings by the time. But there's a place called Hertz Donut, and it's a fist with the word Hertz on it, and it's donut. But we also it's downtown. It was where the Southern and Grambling game was, where 11 people were shot. So we decided not to.
Oh, that was last night.
Yeah, so we decided not to venture down and try their donuts. That's what we ended up getting, the DeBurgey bites instead for our weekend.
So was the shooting tied in the football game?
They're seeming like every year at that event there's a number of shootings. So, it depends on how not directly, but it seems to happen around that event yearly. If you read the according to the article I read in the paper.
Okay.
So it's but there's also a lot that happened during Mardi Gras. I mean, we have a lot of shootings in this city. So.
Okay. Well, readers and listeners, we definitely did not talk about the Steelers today. And we're about 30 minutes from kickoff, and I think we'll have a lot to talk about on next week's show on our Steeler Moment.
I believe so.
Everybody thinks it'll be chippy. I don't think it will be.
I think the NFL is going to. I think there's going to be a lot of NFL official in every locker room explaining not to get chippy. I think the fact that Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph are not scheduled to play today, I think, is helping. And I think Freddie Kitchens didn't help everything when it blamed the Steelers T-shirt he wore the other day. I know he said it was a joke, but it seemed like a pretty. For a guy that's
he should know better.
For a guy who's been questioned as even a legitimate NFL coach, that just seemed like a really dumb mistake on his part.
You're not going to make a prediction?
I think the Steelers are going to win today. I think it's going to be like a 2017 kind of win.
Okay.
I think it's going to be loud. I think it's going to be a little bit harder on Baker. And I think the lack of Myles Garrett is going to hurt a little bit.
And how do you think the Duck is going to be?
I think the Duck is going to do exactly what Tomlin said in one of the, probably one that's going to live on forever quotes is, he didn't kill us.
Yeah.
He says it with sort of that smile and smirk, like, why is he your quarterback? He didn't kill us. So,
yeah.
Not the most ringing endorsement, but I think it's true. And I do think we've seen all year, like, for whatever reason, the team seems to have more energy when he's on the field. And I don't know if they're just trying to make up for, knowing that they're down to their third string guy and they all got to play a little harder, but it seems like they play a little harder. And I don't know what that's about, but it seems like it happens. So, and judging by pictures of him and James Washington on Instagram duck hunting together over the weekend,
Yeah.
I think that shows that he's pretty well liked already by his receivers too, which I think is good.
Yeah. One last shout out. The Pirates hired their manager.
Yes, they did.
Bench Coast from Minnesota. I hope he does well. I wish him all the best.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for the Angels to spend lots and lots and lots of money this year to get Garrett Cole and maybe Mookie Betts.
I mean, if they can't win with if those guys stay healthy, if that still doesn't put them over the top, I don't know what they can possibly do at this point.
Yeah, they've been there before. They had like 3 of the highest free agents at one time ever in the late 70s. In the early 80s, couldn't do it. So we'll see. They're just like one of those franchises. Like, I started liking them because no matter what they did, they didn't win.
Like I said, I at least want to see, we at least need some Mike Trout at least a wild card game, Mike Trout, something.
I agree. Gotta have it. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.